Today we're getting into the latest Tesla news, including Tesla's huge Model Y discounts ahead of the refresh, vehicle prices soaring, Tesla's camera cleaning solution, and more, so let's get into it. First up today, vehicle prices are climbing once again, nearing record highs and putting more pressure on consumers. The latest data shows the average new vehicle price has stabilized at around $49,000, just shy of the peak of $50,300 reached in June of 2023. For context, in spring of 21, the average price was closer to $37,000. This steady rise has left many wondering why cars are getting so expensive. Well, one of the biggest factors is supply chain disruptions, especially the global semiconductor shortage. Modern vehicles rely heavily on semiconductors to power everything from entertainment systems to new safety features. With a limited supply of chips, production has slowed, and fewer cars have been available to meet demand. As such, automakers have had to prioritize higher margin models, such as SUVs and trucks, which naturally come with heftier price tags. Increased production costs are also driving prices up. The costs of raw materials like steel and aluminum have surged in recent years, and manufacturers are of course having to pass those expenses on to consumers. On top of that, labor costs have been rising, with recent labor agreements further pushing up production expenses. Another key element is demand. Even with higher prices, demand for vehicles remains strong. During the last few years, many consumers saved money and were ready to spend on big-ticket items like cars once restrictions eased. Used vehicles even, unfortunately, aren't seeing much relief. Prices for used cars remain high due to tight inventory and increased competition. Then, of course, electrification and technology advancements are also contributing to these higher prices. Automakers are investing heavily in electric vehicles and the latest tech features like advanced driver assistance systems and enhanced connectivity. While these innovations are of course exciting and necessary, they do add to the overall cost of production, and that expense is reflected on the sticker price. This is absolutely one of those things that we need to keep in mind when Tesla removes a feature or simplifies the chips in their cars and removes things. Doing so does help them to avoid continuous price increases as a result of all of these factors we're talking about, and they've done a great job being fairly immune to things like semiconductor shortages. For consumers right now, though, this market presents significant challenges. In fact, the average car loan now stretches over more than 6 years, and monthly payments exceed $700 in many cases. As vehicle prices continue to rise, the industry is facing tough questions about affordability and access. Whether these trends will stabilize or if prices will continue to climb higher remains to be seen, but the hope here is that true scaling of EVs is what brings down prices. EVs are simpler to produce, but today still cost more, especially for automakers who are new to them. In practice for many consumers, though, cost of ownership is already lower and should come down further with newer, more affordable models. Then, of course, there's the concept of the robotaxi to replace transport and mean that you don't have to own a car, but that will take some time to truly be realized in full. Next up today, some big updates for the Model Y, new and old. First up, for the new Model Y coming out of China right now, production continues rolling. More footage of new Model Ys in China on carriers is spreading around. Here we can see a few different colors with the launch badge. One thing that we can also notice is how much travel there is in the suspension on these trucks when going over bumps. Obviously, you can't truly tell about ride quality until you drive in the new Model Y, but this could be a good sign. Here's another video of Model Ys on a carrier, and in each of these sightings we're seeing the base dark wheels. Here's what those wheels look like in practice, in Tesla's own photos, but a close-up of these wheels was posted online. These are the wheel covers, and they're very much a blade-like design and integrate within the wheel without completing a full circle. This particular close-up doesn't have the Tesla logo, but it appears to match exactly. In any case, another carrier of Model Ys was spotted, this time with all of them sporting the upgraded 20-inch wheels. These are nearly identical to the Model 3's Nova wheels, except, of course, larger. Tesla is also calling them the Helix wheels, at least in China. Here we see the Model Y in red, Quicksilver, Glacier Blue, and white. Production is clearly well underway in China, so first deliveries should be imminent. Even if many of these are intended for display at stores, things are moving very quickly and will only scale up from here. Reports are saying that demand is there as well, with this refresh receiving over 100,000 orders in just 10 days. Given the fact that Tesla sold about 480,000 Model Ys in all of 2024 in China, it's very clear that this Model Y refresh is going to do very well over there. Even though Tesla has been producing and shipping a lot of Model Y refreshes, we have yet to really get a look inside of it. One particular feature that Tesla hasn't really shown too much is the single stalk added to the steering wheel, but one was spotted at night. This is a single stock, so it appears that shifting will still happen on screen, and with auto shift for the new Model Y. But when it comes to blinkers, drivers seem to really prefer a stock. Tesla is finally answering that demand with this car, and it could actually lead to many more sales of this car. I'm very curious to see how that fares in the US, considering every other Tesla vehicle ships without this stock. But the Model Y seems to be the priority since it's their best seller by far. Speaking of the US, things are still up in the air here, but testing is well underway for the Model Y. Sightings have slowed a bit, likely because of its announcement over in China, but a Model Y refresh was spotted driving through the Bay Area, still covered up. At this point, it's funny to see it covered up, but it is always possible Tesla has some reason why. Another possibility with reduced sightings is that Tesla is on the cusp of announcing this car, and they're basically done testing it. And rumors are also saying that orders could be starting this very week. Even with production lagging in the US, this gives Tesla a good indication of where to focus production, so it would make sense for a timeline. Out of the Fremont factory, workers estimate a March timeline for true customer-ready cars. I'd guess that Tesla would want to launch this as soon as possible. People know about it, and as such, we're seeing lots of incentives for current Model Y inventory in the US. Across the board, if you check Tesla's website, you'll see inventory discounts for the Model Y. Some of them are ending up significant as well, like this one. This is a demo vehicle with very low mileage and is reduced in price by $6,060. In my area, I see a long-range all-wheel drive Model Y marked down $1,920. Another one with the tow hitch installed is marked down $2,450, and then a red one is marked down $2,500. For many, this is a very big indication as well that the Model Y refresh is around the corner in the US. Tesla is responding to the Osborne effect of people waiting for that new Model Y, but seeming to want their current inventory gone. This would line up with an announcement being imminent. For the Model 3, I'm not seeing inventory discounts outside of demo vehicles. So for Tesla's most popular vehicle, they are discounting the Model Y refresh long before the end of a quarter. Separately from these cars, we're seeing Cybertruck discounts in inventory and demo models for the first time. And then over in Japan, for the Model 3 and Y, Tesla is offering an incentive of 5 free years of supercharging until March 31st. Definitely a good incentive, and one that only Tesla can really implement this easily, since they own the network. There's a lot going on right now with this Model Y refresh, but it does seem like things are coming fairly soon in the United States, and I'll be sure to keep you posted. Next up today, Tesla has finally acknowledged a glaring issue with their self-driving approach across all of their vehicles. This is an issue that many have pointed out for years and came more into focus when Tesla launched the Cybertruck, which, when the cover is closed, relies entirely on its single rear camera to see behind you. The issue at hand, dirty cameras. The company recently confirmed that it's working on a comprehensive solution to keep its vehicles' cameras clean, ensuring they remain functional in all conditions. Of course, this is something people have been wondering about for years. This announcement came from Tesla's AI team on X, responding to a question from Tesla owner Chuck Cook. Cook pointed out the need for automated camera cleaning to support fully autonomous driving, saying, "Unsupervised can't have customers wiping cameras." Today, this is necessary for supervised FSD at times, and Tesla has confirmed that they are working on something. This also does appear to be the first time Tesla has acknowledged this need. Today, of course, Tesla relies heavily on external cameras for autopilot and full self-driving. These cameras handle lane keeping, object detection, and much more. But as many owners will tell you, they're not immune to getting dirty. Whether it's dirt, rain, snow, or road spray, these cameras can quickly get obstructed, especially in bad weather. For example, the rear camera is notorious for picking up dirt after just a single drive, making it a common frustration among owners. Not only is it harder for you to see through that camera, but sometimes FSD will let you know that the cameras need cleaning. In fact, Tesla recently added a menu for this under service. So far, Tesla has introduced a few measures to address this. The Cybertruck, for instance, features a sprayer nozzle for its front-facing camera. You can activate it directly through the interface on screen to give the camera lens a quick clean. And on the refreshed Model 3 and Y, Tesla added a small shield around the rear camera and repositioned it on the trunk lid to reduce exposure to road debris. But these fixes don't fully solve the problem, especially for all the other cameras on the car. What Tesla is hinting at now could be a more advanced solution. Some possibilities there may include camera washers to cover every external lens, applying hydrophobic coating to repel water and dirt, or even introducing robotic camera cleaning systems at future robotaxi hubs. The most likely, I think, would be some sort of washer that easily runs to all the cameras around the car, but that could prove far more complex than it sounds. This is a much-needed upgrade, and anyone who drives in messy conditions knows why. And one like that could be very complicated to retrofit on older cars that Tesla says are going to be robotaxis. There are plenty of stories from Tesla owners out there struggling to keep their cameras clean, and a common example here is cleaning the rear camera after every drive just to maintain visibility on the Cybertruck. I'm very curious to see what Tesla comes up with here because this is one area we've been wondering about for years, and they obviously have to solve. Speaking of that robotaxi, we had a very interesting sighting this week of the robotaxi at Giga Texas. Tesla has been testing this a lot around the large roads at Giga Texas, but this week one was spotted with a steering wheel installed for the first time. This makes sense for training and for the ability of drivers to take over, as currently is necessary in all versions of FSD, no matter how rare it is. Still, it is very interesting to see, as this car is very much presented as one without a steering wheel because it never needs it. My guess is this is simply how Tesla will start testing this car, and what they will have in place if they begin doing trials of this with a backup safety driver just in case. However, it does instill a little hope that maybe, just maybe, Tesla will make an alternate version of this car that is drivable. It would need a few things to make it a drivable vehicle that people want to purchase, but it would be a small, affordable, efficient electric car and could end up as that $25,000 EV Tesla talked about and people have been waiting for. I do doubt that this is the case, but time will tell. It all depends on FSD development, functionality, and approval. Next up today, one of the most underappreciated features of the current slate of Tesla vehicles is their built-in bioweapon defense mode. I've been talking about this more recently because of the fires, especially in my area and throughout California, but underneath that dramatic name is actually a state-of-the-art HEPA filtration system that can effectively remove tons of pollution out of the air. I'm based in Los Angeles, and you've been probably seeing the news and seeing all the bad fires that we dealt with lately. These caused huge and dangerous drops in air quality nearby, and this system is a great thing to keep in mind for situations like this. So let's break down how it actually works and how effective it actually is. The HEPA filtration system is installed in all post-2016 Model S and X vehicles, the Cybertruck, and any Model Y built after 2021. This system was designed to emulate the filtration that we see in hospitals and clean rooms as a way of filtering out pollution in heavily affected areas. The process works basically in two steps. One, the car creates a positive pressure seal on the vehicle that prevents inside air from leaking out of the car. Two, all of the car's air is circulated through a medical-grade HEPA filter that captures 99.97% of all particles as small as 0.3 micrometers. In addition, the car also features a secondary carbon filter system, which will remove any additional, quote, odors, gases, bacteria, viruses, pollen, and mold spores. Tesla has a video where they do a direct comparison of a standard air filter in a car versus a Tesla with bioweapon defense mode activated. In the video, we can see how their red smoke test completely fills the inside of the standard vehicle. Meanwhile, the Tesla was completely clean inside. In order to access this mode, you select it using the small button near the bottom of the screen in the climate control menu. If you live around the Los Angeles area or any other region that is experiencing bad pollution, it's always good to remember that this mode exists and to use it when conditions are bad. Next up today, the right to repair has been one of the biggest ongoing fights occurring across a number of industries. Tech and car enthusiasts have been pushing for a long time that manufacturers should have to offer third parties the opportunity to purchase parts and be able to perform maintenance and repairs on their own. Instead, a lot of companies require you to perform all repairs through their own services, where you are completely at their whim as far as prices go. Tesla has always made their parts catalogs publicly available for owners to look through, but never allowed anyone to order anything off of it. In a big change here, though, Tesla has actually just opened up this catalog for customers to purchase parts from to perform certain repairs themselves. This service is not without caveats, as certain parts do still require a service ticket in order to purchase them. A lot of people will be very excited by this news, as it's a big step towards the old standard of anyone being able to work on their own cars if they have the knowledge. Given how technologically advanced and computerized Tesla's vehicles are, there are still a lot of repairs that are better left to technicians and things you can't do, but certain smaller things can probably easily be done by a lot of people themselves. Tesla has historically not been super in favor of opening up their parts catalog, and has even faced some lawsuits from owners in the past. It's not entirely clear if this move was prompted by any legal action, but either way, this is a big step for the company. While a lot of people will probably stick with Tesla's own service, and that makes sense, there are probably a lot of people who are more than capable of making smaller repairs that will appreciate this move. Last up today, some updates from other automakers. Tesla is making another major push to expand electric vehicle infrastructure by opening its supercharger network to 7 additional automakers. Starting soon, owners of EVs from BMW, Genesis, Hyundai, Jaguar Land Rover, Kia, Lucid, and Mercedes-Benz will be able to charge at Tesla supercharger stations in North America. This brings the total number of non-Tesla automakers on the network to 13, including previous partnerships with Ford, Rivian, General Motors, Volvo, Polestar, and Nissan. These manufacturers have been granted access through Tesla's MagBak system, which allows vehicles with CCS connectors to use Tesla's charging system. Drivers simply select a stall in the Tesla app, release the MagBak, and start charging. From there, you'll also be able to use non-MagBak chargers with adapters. Tesla superchargers are widely regarded as the most reliable and efficient chargers available, making this move a game changer for EV adoption. We've heard about this for a while, but it has been a very slow process adding automakers in. The inclusion of these major automakers also signifies growing collaboration within the industry, especially as Tesla maintains its commitment to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy overall. While Tesla continues to lead the way here, some notable manufacturers like Toyota, Honda, and Volkswagen are still absent from this list. Volkswagen's absence is particularly interesting given the fact that they do make a decent amount of electric cars, but they also have ownership of Electrify America, a competing charging network that has faced criticism for inconsistent performance. By adding these 7 automakers, Tesla is creating a more unified charging ecosystem that benefits EV drivers across the board. Of course, for Tesla owners, this always does raise the question as to what this will do for demand at superchargers and overall congestion, but we'll have to see for the future. It does seem like Tesla is always building a lot of chargers and not adding more capacity than they can handle. Over in Korea, Hyundai has just announced that they are going to be continuing their EV growth by making some huge investments into this tech. Alongside its subsidiary, Kia, Hyundai has just announced that they will, quote, make the largest annual investment in its history in Korea this year. The $16.6 billion investment is a 19% increase over their previous biggest annual investment in 2024 of $14 billion. Even as the Korean automaker has slowed considerably recently, the company believes that continued investment in innovation is what will help them through this downturn. Approximately $8.2 billion of this total sum is dedicated towards ramping up and improving EV production in Korea. In 2025, Hyundai plans to majorly expand their EV-exclusive factories, and this money will play a big part in that growth. They are currently building a brand new EV factory in Korea and have just opened a huge new facility in Georgia for their US-based EV production. Even as some legacy automakers are pumping the brakes on their own EV ambitions, it's great that Hyundai is still taking this technology seriously and making the necessary investments into this tech. Over in Europe, Mazda has just unveiled the fully electric update to their popular Mazda 6, the Mazda 6e. This car was unveiled just recently at the Brussels Auto Show as the European version of the Chinese Mazda EZ6. That car has been on sale in China since October, where it sells for an equivalent of around $20,000. The European version likely will cost quite a bit more, but it will still pack a lot of functionality into what is hopefully still an affordable package. It will offer 2 battery pack options between 300 to 343 miles of WLTP range, which will be considerably lower on the EPA scale. On the inside, they are offering a premium interior with a 14.6-inch infotainment screen, a driver instrument cluster screen, a heads-up display, and zero-gravity reclining seats. This car will go on sale in Europe starting in the summer. The EU currently has some big tariffs in place for Chinese-made EVs, so that will definitely raise its price, but we'll have to see by how much. This particular car is made in a partnership with a local Chinese automaker, but Mazda is also simultaneously planning production of their own dedicated EV out of Japan. While this 6e is unlikely to ever come to the US, this other dedicated vehicle is much more likely. That's all the latest Tesla news for today, so in the meantime, if you want to see what's coming in the future for Tesla and EV battery tech, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.